Chapter 2. A Peaceful Mind Generates Power.
How often have you found yourself complaining about how poorly you slept the night before, that you went to bed with an earful of trouble? Given the choice, wouldn't you rather fall asleep with a mind full of peace? The secret to a mind full of peace lies in your mental attitude. The life of strain is difficult. On the other hand, the life of inner peace, being harmonious and without stress, is the easiest type of existence. It is a life which accepts God's gift of peace and embraces the attitude of relaxed trust in Him. A physician I know says that many of his patients have nothing wrong with them except their thoughts. He has a favorite prescription for some of them, a verse from the Bible. It reads, "Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind." He finds that when his patients change the pattern of their thoughts, they actually achieve a more peaceful state of mind, and that helps to produce health and well-being. The first technique I recommend for attaining a mind full of peace is to practice emptying the mind. I cannot emphasize enough the importance of a frequent mental catharsis, which means clearing the mind of fears, hates, insecurities, regrets, and guilt feelings. One effective method for doing this is the daily practice of silence. Remember what the great writer Thomas Carlyle said: "Silence is the element in which great things fashion themselves together." Everyone should insist upon at least 15 minutes of absolute silence every day. Go alone into the most quiet place available and sit or lie down. Do not talk, do not write, do not read. Think as little as possible. Conceive of your mind as the surface of a body of water and see how nearly quiet you can make it so that there is not a ripple. When you have attained a quiescent state, then begin to listen for the deeper sounds of harmony and beauty and of God that are to be found in the essence of silence. At intervals during the day, practice thinking a carefully selected series of peaceful thoughts. Let mental pictures of the most peaceful scenes you have ever witnessed pass across your mind. You might, for example, see a beautiful valley filled with the hush of evening time as the shadows lengthen and the sun sinks behind the horizon. Or you could recall the silvery light of the moon falling upon rippling waters, or the sea washing gently upon soft shores of sand. Serene images like these will work upon your mind as a healing medicine. You might also practice the technique of repeating beautiful words out loud. Words have profound suggestive power, and there is healing in the very saying of them. Utter a series of panicky words, and your mind will immediately go into a mild state of nervousness. You will perhaps feel a sinking in the pit of your stomach that soon affects your entire body. If, on the contrary, you speak peaceful, quieting words, your mind will react in a peaceful manner. Use such words as tranquility. Repeat the word slowly several times. Tranquility is one of the most beautiful and melodic of all English words, and the mere saying of it tends to induce a tranquil state. It is also helpful to use lines from poetry When peaceful quotations are dropped into the subconscious, they lubricate the mind with peace. Here is one from a 16th century mystic. Let nothing disturb you. Let nothing frighten you. Everything passes away except God. God alone is sufficient. There are other practical ways by which you can develop serenity and quiet attitudes. One way is through your conversation. Depending upon the words we use and the tone in which we use them, we can talk ourselves into being nervous, high-strung, and upset. But by our speech, we can also achieve quiet reactions. Talk peaceful to be peaceful. You see, the words we speak have a direct and definite effect upon our thoughts. So in a group, when the conversation takes a trend that is upsetting, try injecting peaceful ideas into the talk. Note how it counteracts the nervous tensions. Conversation filled with expressions of unhappy expectation, at breakfast, for example, often sets the tone of the entire day. On the other hand, if you start each day by affirming peaceful attitudes, your days will tend to be pleasant and successful. Of course, when you get right down to it, the most powerful means for attaining peace of mind is prayer and reading of the Bible. The words of the Bible have a particularly strong therapeutic value. Drop them into your mind, allowing them to dissolve in consciousness, and they will spread a healing balm over your entire mental structure. It is interesting to note that more and more experts in physical health are using prayer in their therapy. Illness, tension, and kindred troubles often result from a lack of inner harmony. But it is remarkable how prayer can restore the harmonious functioning of body and soul. It appears that even the aging process can be held in check by prayer. You need not lose your vital energy or become weak and listless just because of accumulating years, nor is it necessary for your spirit to sag or become dull. Prayer can freshen you up every evening and send you out renewed each morning. And if prayer is driven deeply into your subconscious, you can receive guidance in your problems. Prayer has the power to keep your reactions correct and sound. Another important way that prayer can enrich your life is by stimulating creative ideas. Within the mind are all of the resources needed for successful living. When they're released and properly employed, these ideas can lead to the successful operation of any project or undertaking. The New Testament says, "The kingdom of God is within you," meaning that God has laid up within our minds and personalities all the potential powers and ability we need for constructive living. It remains for us to tap and develop these powers. If you have not experienced this power, perhaps you need to learn new techniques of prayer. One man I know who has a unique and creative mind worked out his own simple formula for overcoming his difficulties through prayer. It is a curious formula, but I have practiced it and personally know that it works. The formula is, first, prayerize. Second, picturize. Third, actualize. By prayerize, my friend meant a daily system of creative prayer. When a problem arose, he talked it over with God very simply and directly. He did not talk with God as to some vast and far-off shadowy being, but he conceived of God as being with him in his office, in his home, on a street, always as a partner, a close associate. He took seriously the biblical injunction to pray without ceasing. He took it to mean that he should discuss with God in a natural manner all the questions that had to be dealt with each day. God's presence finally came to dominate his conscious and ultimately his unconscious thinking. The second point of this formula of creative prayer is to picturize. As I've mentioned before, the man or woman who assumes success tends to already have success. People who assume failure tend to have failure. To assure something worthwhile happening, first pray about it and test it according to God's will. Then print a picture of it on your mind as happening and hold the picture firmly in your consciousness. Continue to surrender the picture to God's will. That is, put the matter in God's hand and follow his guidance. Work hard and intelligently, thus doing your part to actualize your prayer. The third part of this formula. Practice believing and continue to hold the picture firmly in your thoughts. Do this, and you will be astonished at the strange ways in which the image becomes a reality. You see, religious faith is not something piously stuffy, but is a scientific procedure for successful living. Personally, I believe that prayer is a sending out of vibrations from one person to another and to God. All of the universe is in vibration. There are vibrations in the molecules of a table. The air is filled with vibrations. The reaction between two human beings is also in vibration. When you send out a prayer for another person, you employ the force inherent in the spiritual universe. You transmit from yourself to the other person a sense of love, helpfulness, support, a sympathetic, powerful understanding. In this process, you awaken vibrations in the universe through which God brings to pass the good objectives you pray for. Experiment with this principle, and you will know its amazing results.